think I'm recording. Here we go. So welcome everyone to the Watercolor Bridge inspired by Monet. This class is being sponsored by Warminster Library. So thank you so much to Warminster Library and all of you for showing up. My name is Anita Thompson, and I own a virtual and in-person art business where I teach art for all ages through mostly libraries, but also other venues as well. I have a YouTube channel. If you're interested, let me know if you're not aware of it, and I can get your email at the end, or you can send it to me privately through the chat. And also, I have a weekly newsletter. I just published one this morning, or actually this afternoon. And I set out the dates for June and part of July. So the summer goes fast, and the classes fill up in the summer. I have a lot of in-persons this summer as well, but again, you can catch me virtually, and I record. If I'm ahead of the Zoom, I record them all. Actually, the libraries also record them as well, but I put them on my YouTube channel, and you can feature, or you can, redo them or share them on there, and it's free. So anyway, let's get started. We need a pencil. To start off first, I just want to say a little bit about Claude Monet, who is one of my most favorite artists. He was, let me see, I wrote down when he was born because I couldn't remember. It's like, I know he was like, 1840. So 1840 to 1926. He was French. He was the father of Impressionism. If you are not familiar with Impressionism, basically it is using color in order to trick the eye, to make it look realistic. But when you go close up to a painting, it's incredible. It's a series of dots and strokes, and it's all done with color theory. It's amazing. I always say one day when I retire, I'm going to become an impressionist, I hope, and, really study color theory, because it's amazing. And so he was the father of Impressionism. It looks realistic, but not when you go up close to it. It's incredible. So Monet painted over 30 of these bridges. He was obsessed with the bridges and the lily pads. So this one I picked, and it was after this one that is called the Japanese Bridge. And I loved all the blues and the greens. So obviously this is just a copy that I took from online, and I just kind of did my own. Obviously, mine is a lot less impressionistic, and you are very free to add more dots and strokes as you wish. But we're going to get started, and we're going to do some loose drawing first. And then the rest of it, we're actually going to be using a lot of it with our, kind of freehand. But if you feel better drawing those things in, you can absolutely do that as well. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome. All right, so we're going to get started. Also, you want to make sure that you are on speaker view so that you can see this large. And I'm just going to recopy the information again in the chat for the two people that just joined us. So welcome. I also have the colors here as well. And these are very basic colors. If you have the kind of watercolors that you squeeze out of a tube, if you've got like a yellowish green, you can use that as well. If not, we can just use yellow and green. Okay, so drawing now. So this, as you can see, this is on 9x12 watercolor paper, but we make it smaller. I don't know why I made it smaller. I did this over 2 years ago and never sent it to the libraries. Honestly, I lost it and didn't realize that I had made this. So I found it and I sent it to the libraries. So I was just kind of doodling one day, and I decided to teach this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a rectangle. so that it has a border. And I think Joanne's going to love this because Joanne creates borders for all of her drawings and they look so nice and neat. So I think this will be really fun to do. So I've been asked what size is this, and it's about like 7.5 by 8.5, somewhere around there, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. So that would be, as you can see, I've taken at least 2 inches off the top. And I'm gonna go down. I've taken more off the top and the bottom than I have on the sides, but if you want it to be a perfect rectangle, you might want to measure. Like I said, I did not measure for the first time I did this, and this is the only library that has ever picked this program. So maybe we'll see it again in the future with other libraries. Sometimes they will, pick some of my older programs. All right, so once you have your rectangle, or actually, should I wait for everybody? Is everyone still drawing their rectangle? I'm just kind of taking a look here. Looks like everybody's pretty good. Okay. All right. So we are going to go to the top part of our painting here, and we're going to be making the bridge. And so basically what we want to do is we're going to be making sort of like a rainbow shape, 2 rainbow shapes. So let's get started with that. And I'm just going to move some of my stuff here so you can see. All right, so maybe about 3 inches down. And we're going to start with our bridge. And the way I did it was I wanted the greenery to come in off the side, but we can extend the bridge. And so we're just going to go right across. And then we're going to figure out about where we want the rest of our bridge to land, or the bottom part of it. Now you could always move it as we start to get a little more detailed with the actual, the actual 3-dimensionality of the bridge. But we're going to do a basic bridge, just like what Monet has done here. And so we have, at first, I like to draw everything kind of in a kind of lines at first, so that I know where I'm going with this. And then right in the middle, we're going to draw the other part. Now I have mine slightly higher than the original, but I think for this one, I'm going to draw it right in the middle of the 2 sections here. Now you want to make sure that you are drawing lightly so that you are able to actually erase and lighten up your lines. I'm going to go in a little closer now. There we go. And you know what? My bridge is a little crooked on this side, so I'm going to flatten it just a little bit. There we go. There was too much of a curve. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we are going to start off and make everything look 3-dimensional. So adding the other side to these sections. And then what we're also going to do is right underneath the bridge, because it's 3-dimensional, we're going to add another curve, because that is sort of the width of the bridge. And you can't tell by the way, the angle that we're looking at it, but it would look very tiny, very thin. And so that is what we just drew. We're also going to go up top and also make that handrail 3-dimensional by adding another curved line here. So you see we have the basic bridge so far. And then we're also going to do the same to the one in the middle. So the one in the middle is very thin, but we want to double the line, or I should say lines. And when you are finished completing those, and take your time, I'm just jumping ahead to tell you, I then erase all of the connecting lines. So that the bridge area is sort of one design. So what I mean by that is, you know, where, say, for instance, this is connecting with this line. So here would be the line. I erase it. You know, and if you need to kind of redraw it after you erase, that's okay. Now is your time to kind of fix any of your lines. I have some that are just kind of wonky. I'm like, I don't want wonky bridge lines. Trying for the least wonkiest bridge lines. Okay. And so you should have just this basic structure like that. And then we are going to start with the pond area as far as the drawing. So the pond area, basically, it goes back. And I like to kind of start off first back here. So it goes back, but starting in the front, I kind of start off with creating some lines like this, almost like ripples. And this looks like it's straight across because at first it is. And we're going to be drawing in a little more detail than what I originally did over here. And so we're going to be making sort of lily pond-like shapes. So what do I mean by that? So if we're looking at this, I'm looking at this entire shape right here. So in between all of the dark, right, I'm looking at this and I kind of want to create a shape of green. And so I'm going to start here right underneath, and I'm going to start making what's going to kind of look like, well, these aren't the lily pads. These are actually, this is like the water area. So we're going to do these as the water area. And then down below, we're going to create some lily pad shapes. So this is, I should say, lily pads and greenery that is sort of sticking up or laying on top of the water's surface. It does not have to look exactly like mine. I want to double check. Can everyone see my pencil marks? If you can't, give me a thumbs down. I think sometimes it's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jean. Because I started seeing people going like this, and I'm realizing I think that it's, so this is better, right? This line is better. Okay, thank you. All right. All right, I'm going to press darker so you guys can see. So we also want to create dripping trees. So if we come up here, we can start to make sort of dripping, and I'm going to make that darker. I'm so used to not making it darker for some reason. So you can have trees that are going behind your bridge here. So right now it just sort of looks like goo. But I like to kind of start off a bit on the side and then also add some more across. So kind of like some trees that are happening here. And we're going to layer on top of these. So this seems really strange, I know. And it looks kind of messy, but what we're going to do is this is going to be our basic, and then we're going to layer on top. So it's a really simple, basic design, and we're going to get started with the greenery. And so basically, I'm going to be using these watercolors, but I also have um, my basic watercolors here that are Crayola. And so we're going to start off first with some yellowish green. So I'm going to kind of dip into, I have a yellow green here, but if you have Crayola, you are going to mix literally yellow and green. Now, if you have something else, obviously you will do the same thing. Let me see if I can get my colored pencil underneath. So you're kind of looking, what we're looking for is like a lime green. So if I kind of show this one, we're kind of looking for around this color, a lime green. And we're going to use our bigger brush. So our bigger round brush. And before we start painting, I just want to remind you to make your pencil marks lighter. So you can see that mine are darker. So I'm going to start just lightening them up. And you want to do the same. You definitely want to make sure that you can still see your pencil lines, but you want to lighten them up so that you're able to not see them as much. And we're going to start up at the top, and we're going to start up at right across the top part here. And we're going to lay in that yellowy green. And so we're starting off very light. Everything is going to be very light at first. There's going to be a lot of yellowy green at first. And like I mentioned, we're going to start adding to those colors. So the first step, again, right across the top. And then we're also going to start with the dripping areas that we did on the left side. So again, this is your yellowish green or lime green. And we're just laying in some quick color here. We're not doing anything as far as making anything too dark yet. So even just that little bit should sort of start to look like, you know, some greenery, some foliage that's happening. So we're going to be painting around the bridge first. So basically, because the bridge is semi-white, we're going to be using the white of our paper. So after you have that green happening there, we are going to come to the left side, and we're also of the left side of your paper, and we're going to paint above and in the middle of these sort of rectangle shapes that make the bridge, and then also right underneath. And we're going to do the same on the right side as well. So again, that yellowish green, we're going to start right above on the right side. And basically, you're probably wondering, well, what are we doing on the right side? So we're kind of making a line of color, kind of like a wash of color, like so. And then we go right into the first rectangle and the second rectangle. I'm going to see if I can turn off my light. I think that might make it easier to see. I think so. Yep. There's still a lot of light in this room, so I turned off one of my lights so that you're able to see a little more of my watercolor. Okay, so we have the yellowish green down a little bit. We are now going to get into our yellow. So starting off with the lighter colors first. And we're going to start off on the left side here on top of the green in the middle. So the middle section here, and we're going to add some yellow to the top section of that rectangle. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So top section of each of those rectangles. And then we're going to grab our yellow again, and we're going to start going into our greenery on the left side. So what we want to do is we want the yellow to be on one side of our greenery. So we're going to pick the left. And so we're going to go right inside the greenery on those. And we're going to do the same on the right side. Like so. And we're going to get back into our green one more time so we can kind of fill in the background. And so what we're going to do is basically in this section here and going down till about right here, because this is going to be part of our water line, is we're going to be taking our green and we're going to do a light wash. So a light wash meaning lots of water so that it's barely there. And you're going to continue that in between all of your rectangles. So it's going to kind of look like an incredibly light lime green. So you can probably barely see it on my paper. I'm going to put that light on one more time. And then this next section down here, we're going to be starting to use the lime green again, but we're going to be filling in all of these parts. And so we're just going to do a really quick, everything right now is lime green. So really quick to cover those. And then we're going to start getting into our blue. And so you're probably wondering, what blue should we be using? So I'm using kind of a more of a turquoise blue. So if you are using Crayola, again, I know everyone's using probably different ones. The blue in Crayola is, a great color. So blue in Crayola is this color right here. Oops, there we are. See how it's like a turquoise? Kind of like that. So you're going to want sort of a turquoise, kind of like a turquoise blue. So I'm going to pick this one here, and we're going to water it down. Because again, we go lighter with everything at first. But we're going to start off in our sky. And what we're going to do is we're going to start making bunches of the sky, and kind of drippings happen using strokes of your brush. So how we started kind of doing that with the yellow and the green, we're going to do that here on the left side in between the yellow that we did on the left side. And we're going to start also adding kind of dripping areas. This is going to be like the foliage in the background. I want it to be a little lighter. And for now, we're going to go a little bit past our bridge, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So you can see that it's very wet, and I'm dabbing it. You want to make sure when you get up to your bridge that you don't paint over your bridge area. And we're going to go into the water after doing that. And you're probably thinking, this looks like a mess. I promise it won't look like a mess when we're done. Okay, so when you're finished with that, you're going to go into the bottom right corner, and you're going to make like a slanted triangle using this blue, just like so. And when you're finished with that, you're going to go into this area and make it very light. So the whole area around the light green. And we're going to get a little lighter right around here on the right side. And the way to do that is to add your water. So you see how this is a little bit lighter than over here. And it's going to get even lighter, so you're going to add even more water. Oh, that was a little too much. And you're going to finish off that water color for now in that whole section, going around the greenish yellow. So what we're doing is we're adding in base colors, and then we're going to start building upon these. And when you're ready, you're going to take your detail brush because we're going to now start to just lay in a little bit of color around our bridge. Now, if you're, if you're better with your bigger brush, like for instance, my bigger brush on this one, I like the point better. Basically, you want something that is pointy because we're gonna be outlining the bridge. So you want a brush that's going to be a bit pointy. So whether that's your bigger brush or your detail brush, or maybe you try one or the other. But basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting into our purple to do a little bit of outlining underneath our bridge. So again, if you're using like, basic watercolors, your purple is sort of more of like a violet, and that's what we want. So we're looking for more of like a darker purple, like a medium to darker purple. So not so much a lavender yet, but like a darker purple. And we're going to start to outline underneath our bridge. So the line should be not stick thin, but a little like thicker than the thinnest line that you could do. And you're going to go across because that is kind of the width of the bottom of our bridge. So again, that is with our purple. And we're going to start to outline underneath the next, sort of the next rectangles of the bridge. So for instance, this one here. This one here. So we're outlining underneath all of the rectangles of the bridge on the second lines. Sort of the second railings. And you should already be able to see it looks a little more three-dimensional because what we're doing is we are adding the shadows to underneath the railings. And we're going to do the same to the top layer. So when you're ready, do the same to the top layer. Oops, I need a little more purple there. Now, if it's too wet still from the background, skip that section and you can always go back. Mine over here was a little too wet, so I'm going to skip it. And then we are going to go on the right side of these two sections right here and make a thicker line. So I'm pointing to it. This one is a thicker line. So that is the shadow of that one. And you're going to do the same to the next one on the left. Oops, I need more purple. Okay. And then we are also going to do it right up here on the bottom left. Oh, I need a little more purple. And the rectangle sides here. Oops. Sorry. Gotta make mine a point again. These two here. So I'm pointing these two here. And then you're going to wash your brush because we're going to add a little bit of blue and green to the bottom portion of this part of the bridge. So we're going to go back in with our yellow green. And we're actually going to go on the bridge. And it's very lightly though, very light green on the bottom portion here, right above the purple. Okay, so we're going to leave the bridge alone for now, and we're going to go back to the water. And we're going to start adding some more darker parts of the blue. And so basically now we want to use that blue we were using, but we're going to add some purple to it. So I'm going to put this here. So it's going to be more of a royal blue. So if you have a royal blue, I don't in this set, so I'm making mine. It would be purple and blue. So it's going to be like, let me mix the color first to show you. Here's my purple. Here's my blue. That color there, it's literally like a purplish blue. So you're looking for that color. So if you already have that color, that's great. If you've got to mix it, use purple and blue, and you're going to get a royal blue. And then we are going to start in the water. And basically, we are going to start pressing using our brush. We're going to come from the left side, and we're going to create some blue, what's going to look like blue grass coming from the left side. In the bottom left corner. We're also going to take that same color. So after we've done that, we're going to take that same color. Going to mix a little more here. And we're going to come up to the top right corner, and we're going to dab on that color. And we're going to start kind of dotting into the landscape on that side. So we dab on top of the colors that we already have, and then you're going to start dotting on the color going across into just like half, kind of like half of the landscape at the top there. And then you're going to grab yellow. A lot of yellow, blue, and green in this. And you're going to dab underneath where you just went. And you're going to continue that on the right side, going down into your first rectangle there, following, and down to the second one. And below. So again, you're taking your brush and you're literally dotting. So you should have some texture here. And we're going to take that yellow again. And now we're going to go into the water part. And you're going to go across using a line like this. So 3 lines. Getting lighter as you go towards this section. And we're going to grab some more of that yellow when you're ready. In order to create it looking like it's going back, we're going to come right up to the water line here, and you're going to put some yellow right across in the middle like that. And then you're going to put another line to the right of that. And one more to the left like this. And we're going to get back into our blue. But this time you're going to mix blue and black. So that royal blue that we were using, you can use that. And then you want to mix a bit of black in that. So we want to have that on hand. So it should come out like an incredibly dark blue, like a navy blue. So if you have a navy blue, you can use that, which would probably be one of your darkest blues, if that's what you have. But right there, wait, let's say right there is my navy blue. See the difference? There's the royal blue, and that's the navy blue. So you want to mix that one up. We're not using it yet, but we're getting there. And then the next blue we're going to do is we're going to mix a bluish, like a green with our purple. So if you have a regular green, so not the yellow green, but the regular green, and again, you can use it if you have Crayola, you're going to mix that. So we're going to layer that first, and then we're going to mix the green with the purple. So first, regular green. And you should switch to your bigger brush. And we're going to start layering again where we added the blue here. We're going to now start layering more green. So what I'm doing is I'm now adding more color on top of that blue. You should still be able to see that blue, but you're adding some more color. And then we're going to go over to the right side. And we're going to add grasses coming up from this blue. So again, using your brush upward. All the way to the right side. And you're still going to take that blue, or I'm sorry, that green. So after you do that part, you're going to come into the water in the back on the right, and you're going to make some quick lines like this. And then you're going to get on the left side with that green. And right where the water line is right here, we're also going to start making some more lighter grass that comes this way. And it's really light. So it looks like a patch of like light green, but it's going that way. And we're still using that green because we're going to start filling up the sky a little more behind the bridge. And so we're going to start coming down just like we did with the blue here. And we're going to go next to the blue and dot right next to it. And we're going to do the same going towards the right side here. But we're going to dot right on top of the yellow and the blue, kind of like in a roundish, almost like we're creating a bush. So you want those colors to mix. And that's on the right side. And then we are going to now start using some blue in the back here. So rinsing your brush. And we're going to go back to using your blue, but using it very light for this section where it's kind of the white of the paper. We're going to make a little bit of the sky that's happening here. So that is, again, the blue, and you're going to water it down. Oops, that was too blue. So you're going to do there, and you're going to go in between the rectangles. So here, here, here. Oops, let me lighten that up. And we're also going to go on the left side of where the yellow is in this rectangle. So now you've got a mixture of kind of like a greenish blue. And then you're also going to fill up using that blue in this whole space and even on top of the yellow. So this space here, where the white of the paper is. And we're going to start getting darker. So we're going to get into our orange. So regular orange. And we're actually going to add that underneath our purple of our bridge. So the orange is going to be a little bit on top of the purple, like kind of mixing in, and then you're going to expand that orange a little bit more so that you just see orange underneath the purple. So it's like an orangey purple and then a little bit of that orange. And guess what? You're going to do that to the bottoms of each of the purple underneath each of the lines going across. And you're going to do it a little bit lighter at the top of each rectangle on the first section there. And you're going to rinse for now, because we're going to go back to that dark green or regular green. Okay, so you have that green now. You're going to go to the top left corner. And so how we started having things kind of hanging down, you're now going to take that green in the top left corner and you're going to start dabbing it onto the yellow so that the yellow is still kind of showing. And you're going to dab it now onto your bridge, going down the bottom left, kind of all the way down to where the water part is. So you're going to probably get a mixture of a green that's going to be a little darker. You're going to continue that dabbing at the top on the left side, on top of the colors that you did, using, you know how you have the yellow and the blue. You're going to dab now this entire section. And so now what you're doing is you're going to go right up to the bridge, not on the bridge, but you're now dabbing in this whole left section. And it should look like this. In that section. We're also now going to start going over to the left side again and create some grasses with that green, but a little higher. And kind of underneath the bridge, you can add some peeking through in between the bridge there. Put some green grasses there. And then also on the right side here, going into the water, or coming from the water, we're going to go up and onto the bridge, or overlapping the bridge. So again, this is still your green. So we're going to grab a little more of the green, and we're going to go into the water again. And in the water, we're going to make it really dark green here on the left side. And we're going to make some dots of green on the left side here so that the blue is still showing. We're going to do that same movement, but back here on the right, just clump together this time though. Till about right there. And then we're going to get into our orange once again. And we're going to go on top of our green grass on the right side, but only in the front part so that it's a little bit darker than the greenery that we have happening there in the back. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to wet a little more of this part that we created here in between our, so the rectangle areas. We're just going to wet that blue a little bit and kind of make it collide into all the colors. We're going to do it in both parts of the rectangular areas. So you still want to make sure that you have that one kind of blobby blue part in the middle, but you want to just fill it in a little more with some background color. And then we're going to grab onto our blue and make it dark. And we're going to go into, on the left side here, we're going to go into the bushes again, and we're going to add a layer on top of that blue. And you're going to do it on top of the orange at the base of this one here. And then you're going to do it in the top corner, the top right-hand corner. And so we're making kind of like foliage. On top of the greenish yellow. A little bit on the corner there. And then we're finally going to do the same in these sections of the water, but underneath kind of the lily pads. We're going to add one more blue strip under the orange that is at the bottom of the bridge here. I'm going to wait for everybody. We're finally going to use that blue and black that we mixed together. For some of the darker areas. So we're going to go up top, kind of in the middle here, and start creating some dark kind of happening here. So basically, kind of tapping your brush, and then to make it look more like, you know, dripping leaves, you're going to tap between, and you're going to go down to the yellow. On that side. So again, using that, I gotta mix some more of the blue and the black. We're gonna start getting into some of the darker areas. Going on the right bottom corner here. And adding some tapping of black. And we're going to go on the left, right in the water, and tap over some of the water with that black so that it looks like this. And we're going to go up on in the two corners as well, the top two corners of the painting. So again, this is the bluish black. And we're going to start adding dabs of that darker blue. So what this is doing is these are the darker areas in between all the greenery. And we're also going to go in between on the right side of where the bridge is. We're adding black inside the rectangles, but just here on the right side and here on the left side. We're going to add some all the way to the right as well. We're going to get into our brown. So again, we're adding the darker elements now to the painting as we're finishing up. We're going to add some brown kind of strokes coming up above the right side of the bridge here in the top right, below the top right corner. So that's with our brown. You can add some kind of peeking out where the bridge is on the right. And we're finally going to be adding a bit of red for some of the flowers that are in the water. I decided making them red. You can make them pink if you want. So I didn't have that in my original one that I did here, but I wanted to add it to this one. And I also like to add some red into the left side of the shrub there, just to give it a little bit of some red mixed in. It's going to kind of look a little brownish. A little more red here. And then I still like to go back in and add a little more greenish, like the yellow green, to areas that like right under the bridge. I like to add just a wash of yellowish green to give it a little more of a mixture of color. So this one's really kind of lots of colors into each other until we get to the actual bridge, which I like to add finally some yellow green on the right side. On the actual bridge. And then I like to do another kind of outlining using the blue on top of the bridge, meaning the line going right across. And then any other lines kind of in between. I like to add a little bit of that blue to outline it on top of all the other colors that we did. I'm very curious to see what everyone's looks like. You can the last thing you can do too is if you want to add some more orange, you can add more orange to your environment. You can add it a little bit down here above the water so that it looks a little more like its colors in the background, like right under the bridge. But I think I'm going to stop the recording and see what everyone's looks like. Let's see, where am I? Stop recording.